Hi, first graders. I was digging through my books in my basement again, and I was finding some old classics. And this one I found by the author Leo Leone. Hi, Leo. Not you, but Leo Leone. He's written some really fantastic picture books. And this one, when we're finished, I'm going to talk about 4 really good vocabulary words that I found in here that you might want to use in some writing that you are going to be doing maybe in the future. But you can see that picture books are not, um, they can be challenging just like chapter books because they have some really good words in them, some really hard words in them. So I'll point those words out as we go. But this book is called Alexander and the Wind Up Mouse by Leo Leone. I think I just like saying the author's name. It's got kind of a neat name. Alexander and the Wind Up Mouse. Let's see if I can scooch back here. Help, help, a mouse! There was a scream, then a crash. Cups, saucers, and spoons were flying in all directions. Alexander ran for his hole as fast as his little legs would carry him. You see him? He's a cute little mouse. He'd be easy to draw, wouldn't he? I think I could even draw Alexander. All Alexander wanted was a few crumbs, and yet every time they saw him, they would scream for help or chase him with a broom. One day, when there was no one in the house, Alexander heard a squeak in Annie's room. He sneaked in, and what did he see? Another mouse, but not an ordinary mouse like himself. Instead of legs, it had 2 little wheels, and on its back there was a key. "Who are you?" asked Alexander. "I am Willie, the wind-up mouse, Annie's favorite toy. They wind me to make me run around in circles. They cuddle me, and at night I sleep on a soft white pillow between the doll and a woolly teddy bear. Everyone loves me." "They don't love me or care for me much," said Alexander sadly. But he was happy to have found a friend. "Let's go to the kitchen and look for crumbs," he said. "Oh, I can't," said Willie. "I can only move when they wind me. But I don't mind. Everybody loves me." Alexander, too, came to love Willie. He went to visit him whenever he could. He told him of his adventures with brooms, flying saucers, and mousetraps. Willie talked about the penguin, the woolly bear, and mostly about Annie. The 2 friends spent many happy hours together. But when he was alone in the dark of his hideout, Alexander thought of Willie with envy. Do you know what that means? Envy? He was jealous of his friend. "Ah," he sighed, "why can't I be a wind-up mouse like Willie and be cuddled and loved?" One day, Willie told a strange story. "I've heard," he whispered mysteriously, "that in the garden, at the end of the pebble path, close to the blackberry bush, there lives a magic lizard who can change one animal into another." "Do you mean," said Alexander, "that he could change me into a wind-up mouse just like you?" That very afternoon, Alexander went into the garden and ran to the end of the path. "Lizard, lizard," he whispered, and suddenly there stood before him, full of all the colors of flowers and butterflies, a large lizard. "Is it true that you could change me into a wind-up mouse?" asked Alexander in a quivering voice. "When the moon is round," said the lizard, "bring me a purple pebble." For days and days Alexander searched the garden for a purple pebble. In vain. That means he just had no luck. He found yellow pebbles and blue pebbles and green pebbles, but not one tiny purple pebble. At last, tired and hungry, he returned to the house. In a corner of the pantry, he saw a box full of old toys, and there, between blocks and broken dolls, was Willie. "What happened?" said Alexander, surprised. Oh, what do you think happened? Willie told him a sad story. It had been Annie's birthday. There had been a party, and everyone had brought a gift. The next day, Willie sighed. "Many of the old toys were dumped in this box. We will all be thrown away." Alexander was almost in tears. Poor, poor Willie, he thought. But then, suddenly, something caught his eyes. Could it really be? Look. Yes, it was. It was a little purple pebble. Do you think he'll still wish to be a mouse? All excited, he ran to the garden, the precious pebble tight in his arms. And there's Lily. Hang on. All excited, he ran to the garden, the precious pebble tight in his arms. There was a full moon. Out of breath, Alexander stopped near the blackberry bush. "Lizard, lizard, in the bush," he called quickly. The leaves rustled, and there stood the lizard. "The moon is round, the pebble found," said the lizard. "Who or what do you wish to be?" "I want to be," Alexander